What up, ZPT fam? Welcome back to my channel. I'm sure you've heard of people talk about stress and this fight or flight response. Well, today we're going to dive deeper into that and talk about ways that we can control it in everyday life. I'm Dr. Z, a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel I give you golden nuggets that you can start implementing right away to help you live a more happier and fulfilled life. Make sure you stick around until the end, where I'll share a quick and easy way that you can use to short circuit your sympathetic nervous system and get yourself back into alignment and ready to perform at your best. So we all have this thing called the autonomic nervous system. It's an automatic process that constantly controls things like our blood pressure, our heart rate, our breathing rate, our digestion, our hormone production, you name it. Anything that's automatic that we never really have to think about. The autonomic nervous system is split up into two main different systems: the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight response that you've probably heard of many times. It's the nervous system that has helped us get away from saber-toothed tigers for many years. So at the sight of fear or danger, your brain sends signals to your body to start releasing chemicals which constrict our blood vessels to increase our blood pressure. They increase our heart rate, our breathing rate increases, we start to sweat, our pupils dilate so that we can see clearer and wider, and we get into this fight or flight mode. All these different changes come together to help us run away from danger when it really matters. Now, you might be thinking, Dr. Z, there's not really any saber-toothed tigers running around. Is there really a point behind learning any of this? Well, yes, you're right. There might not be tigers running around anymore, but there's still a bunch of things in modern life that trigger this system. Things like someone cutting you off in traffic, someone honking the horn at you, someone pissing you off, or having to get up on stage and give a speech. I always use that example because everyone's had that nervousness feeling when you have to give a PowerPoint presentation in the front of class or something. Well, those feelings of kind of stress and like your heart racing and all that is the sympathetic response. Now, the sympathetic nervous system serves a pretty important role in life, but when it stays on for too long consistently, it becomes an issue. So we have these organs, our kidneys, and on top of our kidneys, we have our adrenal glands. Well, every time the sympathetic nervous system is activated, our adrenal glands start to release cortisol. Cortisol is also known as the stress hormone. All right, cool. That's still not a bad thing. But when cortisol consistently keeps getting produced and starts to enter the bloodstream, we start to have an excess of cortisol running around in our body. That's bad for many things, including your heart health, your brain health, your gut health, your health overall, not to mention your mental well-being. The problem is that now that there's no saber-toothed tigers, things are way harder for your brain to learn to compute. Before, a caveman could see a saber-toothed tiger. Well, I don't know if cavemen saw saber-toothed tigers, but you get the point here. They saw something that they had to hunt or that was gonna hunt them, and they either ran away or they killed it. Well, once they were away from the danger, it was pretty clear that, hey, I'm back in my cave now, my heart rate can start to go back down and I can start to relax. This no longer happens now because we're constantly being triggered by things all around us. We have more access to negative information now than we ever have had in the past. Whether that means you're scrolling through Instagram and you get jealous because someone has something that you don't, or you see a comment that you don't agree with. I mean, the examples are endless, but you get the point here. We have to learn to control our sympathetic response so that we don't spend so much time in this elevated stress state, which is bad for our health. But we'll get into how to kind of do that later. But first, let's talk about our parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic response is the exact opposite of the sympathetic response. So your heart rate actually goes down, your blood pressure stays normal, and it's directed towards your gut versus your muscles, which is why this response is also known as the rest and digest nervous system. It allows you to think clearer when you're in this state of mind. It allows you to easily sort through all the connections and memories in your brain because you're able to use your brain more effectively when you're in this type of state. Which is why I think it's so important for you all to learn how to enter this nervous system when you're nervous. So the reason it's possible for you to be able to switch through these two nervous systems is because, yes, the brain can send signals to the body, but the body can also send signals back to the brain. Simple things like diaphragmatic breathing, paying attention to your breath, and pacing your breath are huge ways to short circuit your sympathetic nervous system. If you can do this effectively and consistently, it will be way harder for something to trigger a stress response from you because your body's just in a more relaxed and effective state. It's not going to get triggered at any time someone honks at you. When you spend a lot of your time in the sympathetic nervous system, it's so easy to get triggered. The smallest thing can cause a heightened response from you. How many of you guys have lashed out at the driver in front of you because he took a split second too long to press on the gas after the light turned green? You're honking, you're cursing him out. He has no idea. He's having a great time and you're literally stressed out and miserable in your car. Yes, I'm exaggerating here a little bit, but I want to really paint the picture for you. This happens consistently, over and over and over again, every day. And this is why so many people are stressed and mad out there. The reason things like diaphragmatic breathing can help you calm down the sympathetic response and activate your parasympathetic nervous system is due to this nerve called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve runs down from your brainstem all the way down to your diaphragm, your breathing muscle. When we breathe by properly activating our diaphragm, we send signals back to the brain through the vagus nerve to help us relax. The brain starts to release the opposite chemicals of stress and excitation, and they start to send signals to relax the nervous system, open up the blood vessels, undilate the pupils, decrease your heart rate, etc. A real life example where I've used techniques to activate my parasympathetic nervous system are, I remember this one time I had to give a presentation in front of class. I used to get super nervous before giving presentations. To be honest, I still get super nervous before giving any type of presentation. But I was going up the elevator and all of a sudden my heart rate started to beat out of my chest. It was increased, it was pounding, and I felt like I was sweating a little bit. And giving a speech in this type of state is obviously exhausting and ineffective, and I mean, it's terrible. Who has gotten that tunnel vision when they got up there? So I literally implemented the technique that I'm going to show you in a little bit. On the way up the elevator, it was a 2-flight thing. And by the time I got into the classroom, believe it or not, I was pretty relaxed and I gave my presentation more or less pretty decently, way better than I would have if I was in that sympathetic state. I was able to think more clearly. I was not focused so much on my heart beating out of my chest and can everyone see my hands shaking. I was able to just focus on the topic and the information that I wanted to provide to everyone else. Some other things that you can try to help you get out of a sympathetic state include things like journaling, meditation, mindfulness, presence, exercise, spending time with family or loved ones, anything that helps your brain not worry about what other people are thinking about you and what your performance is going to look like. Now, these things aren't really practical in the moment, right? So as promised, we'll get into the technique that you can use within seconds to help you become calm, cool, and collected. This technique is called box breathing. It's pretty simple. You can either use 3 seconds or 4 seconds for your countdowns, but what you're gonna do is, you're gonna do an inhale for a 4-second count. You're gonna hold at the top for 4 seconds. You're gonna do an exhale for a 4-second count, and you're gonna hold at the bottom for 4 seconds. You can switch that 4 in for a 3 if that's easier. But the point being is you're gonna count in your mind as you breathe in from your nose, hold, exhale, hold. Do that 5 times, 10 times, however much time you have before your presentation, and you will immediately notice a difference in your heart rate and breathing rate and blood pressure and overall sense of calm. If you don't believe me, try it out. I want you to go stress yourself out. I don't know, watch a scary movie. Have someone scare you. And then see what your heart rate's like on your Apple Watch, or if you have a way to monitor your heart rate, you can palpate your artery and count. Do that, get your heart rate kind of up, or next time you're in a stress state, see what your heart rate is at, right? Or just feel it. Then try this technique for 60 seconds and then look at your heart rate. It's going to be significantly lower. There's science behind this stuff, right? The proof is in the pudding. Go try it out and see how much more effective your presentation is. I don't have to convince you guys to go do this. Go try it, just do it. If you like it, continue using it, right? It's always worth giving something a try. Since I value your time and I want to let you get started on this technique, that's all I have for you for this short and sweet video. If you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I release new videos. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please comment in the boxes below, and I'll see you guys next week.